What's going on, YouTube family? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to continue our Cedar Creek Lake Breakdown series. We're actually on video 3 tonight, still breaking down that east side, but making our way up north. Almost time to turn around and hit up the west side. Probably a few more videos left on the Google Earth side before we switch over to the boating app for Navionics and look at it from a contour perspective. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this thing, see what we find. Let's go. Let's go ahead and jump back in here to Cedar Creek and see what we can find today. Now, if you missed the first 2 videos, we actually came down here and covered the majority of this, like right in through here, this whole entire section. So make sure to go check out those lake breakdowns. They're in our lake breakdown playlist on the channel. I'll also put a link up at the top to the latest one that we just did. Now, over here on the left, for those of you who haven't seen these videos, this is how we break this thing down. So over here on the left-hand side, we've got it broken down by offshore hotspots. This is really based on the contours that we can find by looking at the contour maps and then trying to mark the high percentage areas for you to really save you some time and hopefully put you on some fish as well. So we have all those marked. We are going to go over those when we get done with the Google Earth series here. We'll switch over and we'll do a series using the Navionics boating app to discuss all these different offshore hotspots that are out there. Now, we also have debris and cover, and that's really what we're talking about today, is all the different things that we could find by pulling the water down using Google Earth and the different areas that we could find to fish. Now, we've got debris and cover, like you can see here, brush, debris. We've got laydowns that are also out there. There's things maybe I don't even know. I might put check in there. There's just a lot of different stuff that you might be able to find here. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. We've also got ramps. So several different ramps on this lake. You can see there's a whole bunch of them. You guys have heard me talk about the boat ramp pattern before if you've watched my videos. If not, that's a good pattern. Make sure to go and give it a whirl. I'm telling you, it can just be magical sometimes. And you got plenty of ramps here to do that on. You've also got a couple different areas, not more than a couple, obviously, but several different areas where there's rock. A lot of this rock is really shallow rock, like up around the seawalls and things like that. But there are a couple other areas where we were able to find some rock a little bit further off the bank. We've also got all the ponds and the different roads that are marked. Now, there's not a ton of them in this lake, but there is a lot more up towards the north. But see this little yellow or orange outline right here, that track, that is actually an old pond. So we've marked all the ponds as well as any road beds that were to go across. We would have marked those as well. There's one up here that you can see where we've got that marked. And then last but not least, we've got the channels and the ditches. So anywhere we could find the channel by pulling the water down or really be able to see exactly where the channel is, we mark that. We've also marked the ditches. So anywhere there are any major ditches, we've got those marked with tracks as well to really help you out. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and pull this over here so we can see the lake. I'm going to move this over to the left. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the date back to 2017. So we're going to get back in here in 2017. And I'm going to zoom in. Now, I talked to you guys about this earlier. We might have to change the date here in a minute. But I talked to you about this earlier that we already went through this side, right? So we've already gone up here. We've also gone up here, all the way up in there, and now we're moving up the northern end of the lake. And when we finished last time, we finished right off the edge, and I'm hopefully going to be able to find it here, right off the edge of this point, right? Man, I've lost it. It was right in here, right in here, right here. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep messing with this water until we can get where we want. Now it's saying 12-16. So somewhere between 2016 and 2017, this lake got down really, really far. Now, even in 2021, it got down pretty bad as well. But this image seems to be the best image, so that's what we're going to start with. So we entered on those rocks last time. Let's go ahead and just move up this cove. Let me show you real quick because I know I might have confused you there. I'm starting right here. You can see where my cursor is. That's where I'm at in the lake if you're trying to figure out where I'm starting from. All right, so we're going to move back in here inside of this cove. You know, not too much going on. There is a little bit of a channel going on. You can kind of see it here. but I don't really know if that's really a valid like creek channel. So I didn't mark it. It wasn't strong enough for me to mark. There is a boat ramp back there though you could check on. And then just a couple different areas up here where you've got some shallow rock getting right up against those seawalls. So if you're someone like me, I like to throw those square bills a lot, those shallow diving square bills. And if you can get up here and bounce it around those rocks, sometimes you can actually get some pretty good fish off of those, depending on the season, obviously, if you're going to do that. Now, as we move on up, we're going to move on up into this arm that's up here. We're going to, first thing we're going to see is a boat ramp right here. So you can see a little boat ramp. You know, those are good because that's like a community boat ramp. So it doesn't get used very much, but it's still going to have some pretty decent washout and stuff like that. So you want to definitely look in there. And then as you zoom up and you go over towards the right, there's some interesting stuff up in here. Now you got to be careful because it's starting to get pretty shallow up in here. And I believe there's some stumps up in here as well. So you got to just be careful what you're doing. Just be aware of your surroundings. But there is some rock that's buried back in here behind these docks. And I'm telling you, if you can find those rocks that are on the back end of those docks like that, back here, because everybody fishes up here, but those fish will actually be back here sometimes, and they'll just be hanging around any type of cover. Well, that's perfect. You got the dock pillars and the rock there, so it's a really good combination. And then as you move up and you get a little bit further up into this creek up here, really there's some good brush off of these docks. You can see right here a really good brush pile and another good brush pile or rock pile or something, some kind of debris. It's hard to tell with the satellite image, but something going on right there beside that dock. Then when you get up in here, you've really got two creeks that are kind of merging together to make up this whole channel. And so I've marked both of those for you. You can see there is some debris out here as well. So you may want to just scan around here and see what that is. I'll zoom over to that here in just a second, but here's the creek channel. So pretty good swing right in here with a nice little ditch. And then right here, it's swinging right up against that dock or really close to it. So you definitely want to fish that dock. And then going back here, you can kind of see the channel back here. Appears to maybe be an old pond or something. Wasn't really big enough to mark, but it's right beside that boat ramp. So maybe check out the boat ramp and then just kind of scan to the side and see what you can find. And then going back here, I mean, really, if I'm just picking on docks, obviously this dock looks good. This whole little pinch point in here looks good if you can get back in there, but that dock looks good just where it's located. These two right in here look pretty decent. And then I told you this one out here, and maybe even this one too. These two would be the two primary ones that I would fish in that area. Now notice if you zoom in a little bit, these could be tires and these could be stumps. So I couldn't mark it for you, but these little black dots, go check those out. That could be debris. Could just be nothing as well. But check it out, at least when you're coming back here, you know, just kind of scan around and see if you can see anything underneath there. All right, so let's keep moving up. We got some more brush out here off the outside of that dock. And then this dock's got another brush pile too. And I've noticed that, you know, I used to always think, you know, these brush piles were always going to be out in front of the docks. I had an older gentleman tell us one time that all the bass fishermen fish it wrong because they fish the dock and the brush piles are actually out right in front of the dock. But after doing all of these lake breakdowns, what I've noticed is they're not necessarily always out in front of the dock. They're typically out to the sides of the docks. So they'll be like in between that spot when you usually just zoom past and you go to the next dot. That's usually right where their brush pile is that opening between the two docks. So make sure you pay attention to that when you're out there scanning around and things like that. Don't just pay attention to right on the dock, but look, you know, a couple hundred feet away from the dock. That's typically the area that they're going to put the piles in and things like that so they can cast out to it. All right, so we've got some ramps that are right here. And then as we move up here, we've got a ton of ramps. So you can just see it's ramp city. The only thing that was good back here other than all the ramps that I saw was there's a brush pile back here. Now, obviously this is pretty shallow, but there's a nice little brush pile right here just outside of that dock that I was able to pick up. The rest of it, it looks pretty shallow, but definitely, you know, they're going to hang around those docks. So work the docks, and if the dock pattern doesn't work the ramps, because you've got a lot of different ramps that are here too. And we've got some offshore stuff to talk about up here as well once we get to the offshore side. More ramps, just a ton of different ramps. Some shallow rock that's right here off the edge of this point. It's not that shallow. It actually comes off pretty far, so this looks like it could have some potential for sure. If we pull that up to 2022, you can tell it's completely submerged. And it's easy to figure out what point that is because you can just remember that there's a pool off of that that point. And, hopefully that'll help you figure it out. So let's move back 2016. We're going to keep moving down. Just some interesting stuff down in here, but nothing I can mark for you. Like I just wonder what that is. And I told you, I think I talked to you guys about this on the last one, but had a spot like this that I was for sure that was brush or timber or something, because you could almost see the lines from the logs. But then when I went out there and I scanned it with the finder, there was nothing there. And then I came home and I looked at it on Google Earth, and I was like, man, I must have just went to the wrong spot, marked it again, went back out there, same exact thing. So although these look like brush piles, I don't think they are, but you still want to check them out. So check out that one. If that is a brush pile, it's perfect. It's right out the edge of that point. And this one too, just kind of come in here and just scan around, just see, is there really anything here? Or is that just the ground and the contours and everything playing with our lines? So that's those 2 points right here. I'll back out and show you where I'm at. So I came up here, we were in there, and we were just talking about these 2 points right in here. Okay, so let's circle around and let's keep moving up. We got some pretty good rock that's outside the edge of this point. The shallow rock's right here. It starts about right in there. Pull this over. Starts about right in here. Goes all the way down this bank line out to here. Now, if it's me, first place I'm going to go, knowing that rock is there, is I'm going to start up here, like around this little seawall, see if I can get anything to bite around the seawall, and then I'll hit that rock in there. My guess is your bites are probably going to come like right around in here, or right around in this little pocket here, or right there where that little curve is in between the rock and that seawall. But you got potential to catch anything all along this little seawall there, as long as the water's up high enough, because that rock is definitely going to be covered. You got some more shallow rock in here. Again, more shallow rock here. This one comes out a little bit further than the other ones, so this one would have a little bit more potential. Plus, it's a decent little miniature point that sticks out there. Got a pretty good little flat point that comes out here, but no debris on it. We've got another ramp. Ramps and slabs, I call them the same thing. I just call them all ramps. We've got another ramp back here. And then over here off the edge of this point, so you got this little point that comes out. Pull this back, right? So it came out of that pocket, and now we're right in here. This little area right in here has just a little bit of rock that kind of points out, and it kind of gets a little bit further out here. It makes me wonder if there's not more rock right in here. But definitely go look in there and just see if you can find anything in there. Also out here, this finally we get out a little bit of ways from the bank. We've got some rock up on the bank just around the seawall, but some additional rock or something going on right in here. Some kind of cutout or something from that point. Can't tell what it is, but it looks like it could have potential shell beds on it too. And if it does, then that would make it the best point in this whole area if those really are shell beds. I can't tell if they are, but you definitely want to go look at it. It's either rock or shell or some kind of debris. So let's keep moving up. Here's where we came out of the pocket, right? And now we're going to go over here to this little point here. And we're just looking at the rock here, really just the shallow rock that comes around the point. Nothing too special, but again, if you're on that pattern, man, you're going to have a lot of those areas where you can just get up close to those seawalls, hit the crankbait, catch a few there, and then move on to the next spot and just continue to repeat that pattern throughout the lake. When you get that, this is really going to help you get on those points. You've got these rocks right here, same type thing, more rock along those seawalls, kind of getting the same thing all the way through here. These are just rock that's right up against the seawall. Now this one has more potential because it has a little point that comes out. So I really liked that one compared to all the rest of them. The rest of them are just light rock, but this one's got that little point that comes out, and those are always special little areas. So let's go up here. We're going to go in this pocket now, and we're going to see what we can find out here. Let me back up. It says we're in the Enchanted Oaks, so we're getting ready to go into Enchanted Oaks. So we're going to go up here, and we're just going to see what we can find. So we're going to come in here in the pocket. We've got a boat ramp over here, potential brush pile that's back here by this dock. It's just outside the corner of it. It's right here. It looks like it's a decent little pile, so you can go check that out. You crappie fishermen, and don't forget bass fishermen. The bass like to eat the crappie, so if the crappie are there, the bass are close. You've also got some rock here around this little point. Again, really shallow rock, another boat ramp. And then moving back in here, crazy little kind of channel going on back in here, but nothing really special that I could really mark for you guys, but there are a couple things back in here that I would like you to check. One would be right out here in the middle. Just scan right in here and see what that is. I don't know what it is, so I couldn't really mark it. Fish this dock because that dock is coming right off of a creek channel swing. So you want to fish that dock, and then you also want to come up in here and fish around this brush pile that's right here. I think that's going to be very productive. Pile there. Let's go ahead and move down, see what else we can find. Again, some pretty neat, interesting little contours here, little humps and things like that, but just no cover on any of these places. So really nothing for them to be attracted to, but plenty of docks for them to hide around and things like that in this lake for sure. So we come out of this little creek channel here, come over here. We've just got another ramp that's over here. Some more shallow rock that's right around this point right here. As I zoom in, you can see it. Just again, if you're on that pattern, that's going to be a good pattern to run at certain times of the year. And then finally, we get out here off the edge of this, and we've got some debris that's hanging out over here, just right off the edge of this. I think it's debris. Again, this could be another one of those that confuses me, but it could be also potential for shell beds up in here too. So it wouldn't hurt to go and just fish around this little hump that's out here right off the edge of the, not even a hump, but more or less just a point that comes out. So let's keep moving on up and see what else we can find. Over here by these docks, we've got some more shallow rock. If I zoom in here, you'll see it a little bit better, but some pretty good little shallow rock that comes off the edge of that seawall right in there. And then moving out here, you got some really good rock right off the edge of this point that might get a little bit, better depth than some of that more shallow stuff that we pointed out earlier. We're going to move on up. We're going to get into this interesting area in here. This is a pretty cool place on the lake just to be out there on the boat. Just looks neat. But you do have some pretty good rock that comes out the back side of this mansion that's over here. So you can see it comes out pretty far. So it would definitely be a good spot to go check out. We've got some ramps that up in here. We've also got some riprap that's over in here. That's good. I've actually caught some fish right off of that riprap. And then we've got some more shallow rock again, just right behind these docks. Nothing too crazy from a rock perspective. More riprap, and then more rock all along these seawalls. There's literally rock that is just lined up. Basically, you can see it all. It starts about right here, and it just goes all the way around on the inside of this dock line. And it's pretty heavy, and then it ends right there where that little rock symbol is. So let's zoom back, kind of show you where I'm at. We've made our way pretty good. We've moved all through here, and now we're all the way up. We just came around that island right there, and now we're going to move over here and see what we can find over here. So a lot of this rock that we've been talking about is that shallow rock. It's the same type thing, shallow rock with the seawalls. Same thing right there as well. We've got a ramp that's out here. That one looks interesting, kind of secluded little ramp for sure. And then more of that shallow rock along the seawalls. You got some more right here. This one comes out pretty good. Kind of like that dock too, how it sticks further out than all the other docks. And then this rock that's all through here too. And then some more rock, just the shallow rock, more shallow rock in there. Again, this is all just that seawall rock. This one actually looks a little bit better. It comes out a little ways, has a nice little point over in here. I could see this being a little productive area right in there too. Then moving up, we're going to basically see the same thing as we kind of get up the top of this point. But I definitely want to point it out to you just in case, that is the pattern you're running. Look at this rock. This stuff comes pretty far out as well. So this one looks good. Same thing there. You got the ramps, more ramps. And then as we get up off this point, finally we get some rock that's kind of scattered out. It's moved around. And you can see this one actually comes pretty far out here. It comes way out here. So you got all of this rock. Actually, that is tires, not rock. I don't know. That could be tires in there too, but this is definitely tires right here. So you've got tires and rock all around the edge of this point. You can see more tires right in here. So basically just draw a big circle right in here, and that spells juiciness. So go look in there. Good stuff for them to hang around. Moving up here, got a little, almost what it appears to be like a little pond, but I don't think it is. I think it's just the way it's dug out. But you got a couple different brush piles that are in here. You got one that's right here, and you got two that are back right in here as well. You can see both of them. Then you got a ramp, and you got some rock that's off the edge of this point that's not on the seawall, right? That's a little more scattered, so you can throw a crankbait down there and stuff like that and still stay off away from the bank line. You got another brush pile that's out here outside of this dock. Shows up pretty good. Could be a big pile of tires too. And then you just got the shallow rock behind it. Same thing here, that shallow rock on those seawalls. Another brush pile. Again, remember I was talking about how I said the brush piles aren't always out here. They tend to be to the sides. Again, uh, another brush pile that's off to the side. Some pretty decent little rock here. Pretty healthy little rock. And then I really like this spot right here. Let me zoom back and show you where I'm at so that way you can remember. So here's the bridge, 198. We're going to come down from 198, and it's going to be this first little point comes off right here. So let's see. Let's do that again. 198 to right there on that point. Look at this rock and how it comes out. So you know it probably comes out even further. Hopefully it does come out even further, but it's definitely been washed away and stuff like that. So this just looks really, really good to me for sure. There's some buoys or something like that going on there. So hopefully you can fish around it. You got some more rock around these seawalls, another ramp. Here's some brush piles for you. Two big old brush piles. Those are on the inside of that dock. So they must stand here and cast over to them. Which most people are just going to fish that dock, right? They're going to not even think that the brush piles are back there. Then you have a decent little creek channel that comes back here. It makes a pretty good little bend right on that boat ramp or really close to it. So right in there would be a good place to go look. As we move further up, some more brush, some more rock around the back end of this dock. Again, more rock here. Another little brush pile. So there's scattered brush piles and scattered rock. You got the rock there as well. And then when you get up to 198, you know this ramp's going to be good just based on where it's positioned. I don't know if it's even an active ramp anymore. It's looking kind of rough if it is active. Maybe it's just a neighborhood ramp. But this ramp right here is definitely somewhere where I would go look at. As we get underneath 198, another ramp on the other side. It just doesn't look as good as that one did. But you do have a ramp here and some more scattered rock going on off the side of this. And then we're going to continue to see it, right? Just these little brush piles that people have put out in between these docks. And I've marked all of those things for you. Here's the brush pile again. You got another one that's out here. You got some kind of interesting little ditch going on here. So just come to this dock and fish the sides of it, both sides of it, and see if you can find anything productive there. You've also got some additional rock in here, some ramps, another brush pile that's out here outside of this dock. This one's actually where you'd think it would be. It's actually out in front of the dock. And then as we get way back in here, we got two creek channels. I don't know how shallow this is. I'm sure it gets fairly shallow, but you still got docks back here, so that's a good sign. You got some debris back in here. Look at all this junk. Now, whether or not the water gets high enough for that to be underwater, I'm not sure. We'll pull it up here in just a second and take a look at it, but that is a big old pile. I wish I could find this further out in the lake, but let's move it to 2022. It's got water around it. I don't know if it's deep enough to fish, but it's got water around it. And here's that creek channel that's up there. Let's draw this back. This is what it looks like, or what it did look like in January. Let's draw this back to 2017. 2016, and here you can see where I've marked this creek channel. So if the water gets up high enough to where you can get in that creek channel, it would definitely be worthy of fishing. Right here, it doesn't really look like it's high enough yet, but if the water does get up, that would be worth going back there. You got some more ramps here. You got another brush pile that's way out here, right off the edge of this pier. It's right in there. That's not the right image I want for you guys, though. Here you can see it really well. There's not a lot going on up in here. And then you got some brush piles that are up here too around the edges of these docks. These look a little bit better. Honestly, after looking at this whole area in here, I don't know if I'm really that sold on going back in there, but someone will prove me wrong and say, man, I've caught giants back in there. But I mean, I like it because you've got the creek channel coming back in here, and maybe they come up in here and spawn. Maybe this would be a good area for spawning. But other than that, there's just not a lot for them to hang around back there. Over here, you've got another creek channel. You can kind of see it going through here. Can't really guarantee that's exactly where it's at, but usually it's pretty accurate. But back in here, definitely you can see nice little creek channel. Got a little pond back here. Got some debris or some brush going on right there, and another brush pile here. Let's pull this up to 2022, and now you can see that creek channel disappears. You can really see the tops of those culverts now right in here. You're gonna have to be super careful back here. Obviously pretty shallow, but I could see this stuff maybe producing something back there. It looks like there's an old road that goes right through there as well. So be worthy of going and checking out if you were up in this area of the lake. So let's go back to 2016. Let's keep moving down. Just a couple things here. There's a little pond that's over here. So fishing on the insides of this and the outsides of this could be productive. You've also got, let me pull back down. You've also got a brush pile that's right in here, right behind Mike's bar. You can see it right there. When I pull the water up, it's submerged. So you don't know that it's there anymore, but it's definitely there. So go check out that one. Then we'll move this back. And we're going to keep moving down. And then we're going to find a good stopping spot. So down here, we've got another ramp, more brush piles. You literally could just go hit all these little brush piles. Just say, just take me to the brush piles, just point them out and just roll. Some debris here. I couldn't tell what this was. I couldn't tell if it was tires, rocks, trees. Not really sure, but definitely some pretty good debris. And it's pretty far off the bank line. So, it's going to be a little bit healthier, a little less pressured. You've also got some debris in here. Pretty good little ditch that's going through here. It's not really a creek. I don't see any creek coming through, but a nice little kind of pinch point right there in the middle there. And then as we move up, we got more brush and more debris, right? That was pretty shallow. Looks like a big stump. There's some debris and junk out here as well. There's another ditch that's up here that's pretty interesting. So if you look right here, you can kind of see it going through here. I don't know if they would relate to that or not. I think that's just washout from the boats going through here, but maybe like right in here, because you got this cover that's growing up in the water. And if that's still there, that creates a pretty nice little line right in there that they can hang out, ambush bait, stuff like that. So if you came off that ramp, maybe just come over here and flip around here and just see if you can find anything in there. You might get lucky and find a pretty healthy one hanging back in there. We're going to move back up here. Behind this dock, we've got some rocks. Pretty decent little rocks. And then let's go, we're going to go over here. We're going to hit up, obviously, these two ramps right here. Let's go back. Let's talk about these creek channels. We're going to finish right here on this point. So we've got two ramps that are right there. Didn't see too much along that bank line. No hidden brush piles or anything that I could find. But as I move back in here and you kind of follow the creek channel back as it goes through all this stuff, there's a giant hole that's right back in here. And I don't know how let me see if I can go a little bit further back. Maybe you can see it. 2014, 2013. I can't show it here, but somewhere on one of these things, I was able to show that there was a giant hole that was right in here. So I don't know if you want to go this far back, but if you go back in here, make sure to check right around in this area and just see if you can find anything back in there. Okay, so let's move this back to 2016. Let's keep moving on. We're going to move back in here. And also, by the way, look at all the cover that's back in this cove. I don't know if that's what kind of cover that is, but you don't see a lot of that on Cedar Creek, but in this area, that appears to be some pretty good cover going on that you don't typically find in this lake. So you've got some more rock over here off the edge of this point. We're going to get back in here and look at this creek channel really quick. See, even this creek channel, see how bare it is? You actually don't start seeing the cover until you get way back in here, and that's probably almost too shallow to fish. But that other one looked like it had some potential. But this creek channel goes right through here and right down smack across all these docks. So definitely go fish these docks. If you're in this area, fish around those docks, because those docks are in a really good position for the bait to be hanging out around and the fish to be hanging around. So if I move this up to 2022, you can see, you can't tell if that channel is exactly right there, but you definitely know that it is when I pull that water back down. Also coming down here, right where it ends right here by these docks, these are going to be primo docks right here too. Anywhere those creek channels come up close to those docks, those are going to be good areas. So let's move this back 2016. We're going to come down, some offshore stuff that we're going to talk to you guys about later on, but nothing too major to show you until we get down off the edge of this point. And really, it's just right out here. You've got some pretty good rock going on back here behind this dock. So that is going to finish us up for our third Google Earth video. on Cedar Creek. When I come back on the next one, we're going to go ahead and start heading our way north, get past that bridge, see what's up there, and then we're going to start working our way down the west bank and hopefully finish this up in a couple more videos. So please make sure to go out, check out our site, simplisticfishing.com. We have all of these waypoints plus the offshore waypoints, basically everything I showed you at the beginning. We have those set to where you can put them on an SD card, or you can buy the SD card from us. You plug that SD card into your graph, and you will have all these waypoints out there when you're on the lake. It will change the way you fish. It will make things much, much more simpler for you. So please go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.